In this video, we're going to go over how to set up and use WordPress. Now, of course, the first thing you need to do is set up and install, and you want to do this on your own domain with your own hosting account. So you're going to need that. So let's briefly go over what you need to do to get your own domain and your own hosting account. First, you need to go to a domain registrar. Domain registrars are where you actually purchase a license to use a domain. Okay, so you can go to one of these and then you can search for a domain name, sign up for a free account, and register the domain. You see that it's not very expensive, about $10.69 a year for a .com at GoDaddy. There's also one called Namecheap. You can come here and get a domain as well, whichever one you like. Okay, now you're also going to need a hosting account. Now in the resources document, I pointed you to where you can get a good deal on hosting. It has all kinds of bells and whistles like Fantastico, which helps you install scripts very easily, such as WordPress and many others. For most people's purposes, you can get something like the Baby plan. It has unlimited domains, unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth. It has databases. You can go here and it gives you a comparison of everything you need. You need to make sure that you have databases in the package as well, because that's what stores data for scripts. So I suggest the Baby or the Business package. Now, once you sign up for one of these packages, they're going to send you an email with the name servers that you have to point your domain at. So what you have to do is go back and sign into your domain control panel for your domain, and then go and set the name servers. There'll be a button that says name servers. Just change the name servers to what your hosting account looks like, and that will point your domain at your hosting account. And when somebody types your web address in the browser bar, it will go to your new hosting account and whatever pages you put on there as the main page. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go over the WordPress install. Now, the easiest way to install WordPress is to use Fantastico. If you signed up with cPanel hosting with Fantastico, like I suggest, you can just go to Fantastico Deluxe, you'll find in your cPanel, or whatever control panel you have for your hosting account, and then you can go to WordPress, and then you can just do an install. So, new install. Now you'll notice in the cPanel I'm a little behind here, so you need to make sure that it's up to date before you go and do this. This is behind, so I wouldn't do this now anyway. But the other way to do it is to use the install files that you get over at WordPress. Okay, so you can go to wordpress.org and you can download the latest version here. Okay, so you just click there and then download the zip file. And then save it to your desktop or into a folder that's easily accessible. Okay, so I got it going into WP-0x. I'll just save it there. Now once you saved it there, you can open up the folder you just created, and then you need to unzip this. So I use a program called 7-Zip, and it's a free program. Just do a search for 7-Zip like you see there. Extract the files, click OK, and it opens it up into a new folder for you. Okay, and then inside there you have the WordPress folder, and inside that you have all of the WordPress files that you need to upload. So these are ready to upload to your server. Now the next thing you're going to need is something called an FTP client. Okay, that allows you to upload files and folders to your server. There's a free one you can get called FileZilla. Again, just do a search and download that and install it on your system. Now here is what FileZilla looks like. On the left side you have your own computer, and then you just navigate to the files that you want to upload. On the right side will be your server. So what you have to do is put in the username and password as well as a domain name in here. There's also a site manager that you can use, and you can put all of your sites in the site manager, and then you can just call them up at any time from there without having to key everything in. So at this point we connect to our site. Okay, and then what you have to do is determine where your web folders and files need to be uploaded. On this particular server, they have to go into public_HTML, which is true with many servers. Some need to go to htdocs, and some reside right in the root directory where you sign in. Usually the email that you get that is the greeting email tells you where you need to upload your files. If it doesn't, you need to contact your hosting provider and get them to tell you where to upload them. Okay, in this one, they have to go in public_HTML. So we double click there and we go inside. Okay, so now we see what folders and files are in here. None of these are of any consequences if this is a brand new install. Now you can also put this inside of a folder. So in this case, it would just go to my domain name when I typed it in. Now if I wanted it to go into a subfolder or into a folder, for instance, if my domain name is wordpressonvideo.com and I want to go have it in a subdirectory called videos, I would create videos here. So I'd create directory videos. And then I would go inside this directory and I'd upload all these files into there. So somebody would have to type in my domain name /videos to get to that particular site. So either way you want to do it, I decided that I'm actually just going to put this in the public HTML directory, so when somebody keys in my domain name, they're going to go straight to my WordPress site that I'm going to set up. Okay, so I just chose the first one here, hit the control key in the letter A, it selected them all. Now I just right click and do an upload, and it uploads all of those files for me up to my server. Now while it's doing that, what we need to do is create a database. All of the WordPress data is stored inside a database, so you need to go and set one up. Okay, so to do that, you go back to whatever kind of control panel you have, and you got to find databases, and then you need to create a database. So we're going to MySQL databases, and we need to create a database here. Doesn't matter what you call it. I'll just call it WP01. Create the database and go back. Okay, I now have a database. What I need to do now is create a username and password to access that database so that not just anybody can get at the data. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the same name as the username. This makes things a little bit easier. And then you choose characters for your password. Okay, so you can either type it in here twice, or you can use the password generator, which will generate a password for you, whichever way you want to do it. So if you do it this way, just make sure you copy this into your clipboard so you can use it later. Click I have copied this into a safe place, and then click use password. Okay, now we'll create the user. Okay, now what we need to do is attach the user to the database. So down here where it says add user to database, there's our user and there's our database in the drop down list here. If you had more than one, then of course they're going to all show up there. Just pick the two that belong together and click add. Give it all privileges and make the changes. Okay, your database is now all ready to set up your WordPress blog. Okay, so we just wait for the files to finish uploading. Okay, as you can see, everything's uploaded here. There are no failed transfers at the bottom, so everything's ready. So what we can do now is just open a new tab here, and all we have to do is put our domain name in here and hit enter. Okay, notice that it does not have a config file here, and it will try and create one for us, but if your public directory is not writable to the directory that you put it in, it cannot write the config file. So what we want to do is go back, and we want to make public HTML or whatever directory you are putting it into temporarily writable. Okay, so in this case it's public HTML. Go to File Attributes. You'll see right now it says 750, and we're going to put that back when we're done, but right now we're going to make it 777. If you're using a different directory to put it in, it will likely say 755. Okay, but we're going to set it back to 750 when we're done here, so we'll create a configuration file, and then we'll click Let's Go. Okay, so now what we want to do is put our database name in here. We can go get that back from our cPanel. So if we look at our databases in here, here's the name of our user, and our database is named the same thing, as you can see up here. Okay, so we can copy that in there. Paste it in. Username was the same. Put our password in here that we chose. We should have saved the one from the password manager. Database localhost, that's usually going to be right. And you can tell that by just going to your cPanel here. And then if you go back home and you go back down to databases and use phpMyAdmin, so just find phpMyAdmin on your system. And if you look up here, it says server and it says localhost. So that means it's correct. 99% of the time it's right the way it is. Okay, and then table prefix, you can leave this as it is. If you're putting more than one install of WordPress in a single database, you can change this and actually install as many WordPress blogs into one database as you want, so long as you change this table prefix. I'm only going to have one per database, so we'll just submit. Okay, run the install. Okay, now here we need to put in our site title, okay, our username that we're going to use, the password we're going to have for the username, our email address, and whether we're going to allow it to appear in the search engines or not down here. So put all that in there and then click Install WordPress. Okay, it says WordPress is installed, and now we can just go ahead and log in. And there it is. WordPress is all installed. In the next video, we're going to go over some setup.